guys say let Brad cook, and someone says he's not even in the kitchen right now. I agree. So let's go down a shopping list. He's at the grocery store right now, picking out what we need. What is number one? Because he also says he's tried and true. This team is very transparent what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, bite your kneecaps. They've been doing that. They're kicking everybody's ass.
Yep.
Secondly, he's kind of told you, hey, I'm going to pay my guys internally. I'm going to build through the draft, and I'm going to plug in holes. I'm not going to sign big-name guys, but I'll fill in holes of need in free agency or in a trade because that's something I know. I have a tangible evidence that person could fulfill that position. So what do the Detroit Lions need? What is the number one thing on the shopping list for Brad Holmes in free agency right now after DJ Reed? Because obviously that was number one, in my opinion.
I think it's defensive tackle. I do. I think getting a veteran in here that can play defensive tackle, especially with Aleem McNeil more than likely missing multiple games to start the year, I think that's extremely important. We know that DJ Reader also has a little bit of an injury history. So, God forbid he has a little hiccup or something or rolls an ankle or something and has to miss a game himself at the beginning of the year. Then who are you stuck with? Broderick Martin and Miles Adams. I think getting a piece in there to help that rotation until Lee McNeil gets back is important because I do believe they're going to get an edge in the draft.
I have defensive tackle on my shopping list, but it is number 3.
Number 3.
Number 1 for me is interior offensive lineman. It's been a couple days now. Zeitler, it looked like he was staying here. Brad said he was shopping the Arizona Cardinals for a free agent and offense. I don't know what the situation is, but we do not have a guard opposite of, unless you want to include Graham Glasgow, but we all kind of saw where that's kind of headed towards.
I think you have to.
Yeah,
Mahogany,
I think you have to.
You have to put the check mark down for. I don't want that then.
You don't want Graham starting next year?
I'm not comfortable with that, no. Not if your goal is to make a Super Bowl run. You have your division rival just sign Jonathan Allen. He's a fucking monster.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the worst kind of pressure Jared Goff responds to is the interior.
Yeah.
Go back to 2 years ago in Thanksgiving. Go back to the game against the Bears. Just the interior offensive line, if you're not able to keep Jared Goff clean that way, he is an absolute mess. It's atrocious. He's not a guy that can roll out if that situation happens to him. I think offensive line for me is number 1 because I don't know that Graham is your starter right now. I think you may be looking at him as more of a depth piece moving on. Number 1 for me is offensive line. Interior offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now you have your starters are Christian Mahogany and Graham Glasgow at guard. Maybe Graham Glasgow moves to the right side where he had more success 2 years ago when he was in between Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell. He didn't get picked on over there. He was very good over there. Christian Mahogany has shown the ability to play very well at both guard spots.
Thing too is like, and by the way, big Christian Mahogany guy since the draft. I've been that before he was even a Detroit Lion, especially in the run game. But 2-game sample size, personally, I'm also not completely comfortable with that. Obviously, I like him as a prospect and I like him as a player, but I'd rather secure something and grab
like Kevin
guy.
Zeitler.
Yes, that'd be
just to re-sign Kevin Zeitler.
Even if you want to go and get a little Mackay with it, I don't know what the money looks like. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Don't think it happens, but
the guard market is outrageous.
Guard market's
you cannot
ridiculous.
go out and grab a guard right now. I think you have to think if they don't bring back Zeitler, that Graham Glasgow is starting at the right side, right guard. I was right there with Spenny on this one. Plus, you have him for 2 more years. Like you don't want to have that be a very bad contract. Like, you got to make it work with Graham right now. Am I shocked still that he was that bad in that game again in the playoffs? Yeah, I didn't think he would ever look that bad. That was...
It is more than the playoffs, too.
That was down the stretch, but to start the season, he was really good.
Yeah.
So I'm
He's
still holding out hope.
older.
He's a little banged up.
But the cap hit for next year is $7.4 million, and after that, it's $8.4 million. Graham. That's cheap for a guard if he's a starter and he's good. Put him at right guard where he can be good.
I still want a guard. The only reason why in the defensive tackle falls 3 for me is another thing too is you have Aleem, and he'll be back the first quarter of the season. Like he'll be back with like 3 or 4.
Hopefully,
I'm assuming so. Who's your number 1 position?
But outside of Aleem, you've got DJ Reader.
Mm-hmm.
Broderick Martin. Do you count anything for? I don't count anything for Broderick Martin. I'm not being like, all right, we have Broderick Martin as a depth piece. We're set there.
Well, you don't believe in Brad then?
I don't believe in Broderick Martin. I will say that. I hope to God he proves me wrong. Pray to God he goes out there and he is a very good depth piece for this team. But as of right now, and in his track record, he can't get on the field. Right now, you have Miles Adams and DJ Reader as your defensive tackles.
Is Wingo considered a D tackle?
Wingo is as well.
You have him as well. I don't know when he'll be back. What
He should
injury
be
did
back.
he have? What injury was it? Do you
I
remember?
think it was an MCL or ACL.
It was ACL.
I think it was a CL. Shout out CL. You gonna see hell?
Yeah, I think you're kind of good at defensive tackle. It's just waiting for Lee McNeil to come back, you know. But Jermont Jones, a guy that I think you play defensive tackle and obviously play on the edge as well. Same with Calais Campbell. So I think those guys just value pieces. And Calais Campbell, I think, would be more affordable than Jermont Jones at this point.
If you're rushing 4 on third down, are you putting Reader out there on third?
No.
Yeah, Reader had a hell of a year rushing the passer last year.
So
I
you
think he
say
had
yes,
his
you
most
say no.
sacks in a season.
So you would easy.
Yes.
Spenny, you wouldn't.
Who else? You
Not
putting
when
out
everybody's
there?
healthy. No. If everybody's healthy, I would put Aleem and Wingo.
I like that.
I think you still want a big fella out there.
Aleem's a pretty big fella.
I think you need to obviously beef up this defensive line at both spots here. I mean, I had edge and defensive tackle. I don't trust Pascal when it comes to actually rushing the quarterback. I think he's a good edge at setting the edge, run defender, everything. But when it comes to actually getting the quarterback down, I think he struggles at that part of it. So I want to see him go edge and get a legitimate threat to get to the quarterback to pair with Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
what I
number
wanna
2
see.
on my list is edge.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
not same way I am with Graham and halfway with Mahogany. 100% that feeling with Davenport.
Mm-hmm.
And even with Josh Pascal.
Can't expect anything with Marcus Davenport.
All due respect to him.
All due respect to him.
Because when he's healthy, he's a goddamn beast.
He plays well when he's healthy.
Goddamn bull.
But he's more than likely not going to be healthy.
What's your position, Chris?
Mine is right there lockstep with you. It's offensive line because, look, the truth of the matter is this offense is what will take this team the furthest. The defense, you are asking them to be good enough, but the offense needs to carry you. The offensive line is the foundation to that. Jared Goff needs to be protected against pressure. They rely heavily on the run game. They have the best running back duo in the NFL. It has to be offensive line. I would be hyperactive in making sure that this is exactly where you need it to be. I'm not concerned about it, but that's just always going to be my focus because I think that you are an offense-first team, and that offensive line means so much to you when you have so much invested in your offense.
Chat, I want you guys to chime in too. I'll make it a poll. What's our little girls made of? You guys ever hear that song? What's the Lions' biggest need?
What?
IOL.
Put smash the
DG
like button in there too.
edge.
Let them know.
Wide receiver.
Ooh.
You already did it
I'll
with 3?
remake it. Yeah,
That's
I did
all right.
3.
That's fine.
Wide receivers
Nobody-
there too.
I doubt anybody would pick wide receiver.
Wide
But
receiver, I'd probably 4.
Wide receiver is definitely
Yeah, it's absolutely
after
4.
the trenches. I would say wide receiver is the next up.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
cornerback depth?
I'm good with our cornerback depth.
I think you can bring back Vildor a little discount.
Bro, you love some Kendall.
I mean,
Vildor.
It's a depth signing.
I wouldn't mind bringing back.
I'm not gonna
Kendall
sign another
Vildor.
starter. Be like, yo, you're the backup. It's
I
not
wouldn't
gonna
mind
happen.
Kendall Vildor bringing him back for a milli, something like that. Because you got to think you've got DJ Reed, Terrion, Amik, Rakestra,
As the depth.
and you need one more. So I'm not too worried about corner depth.
Edge. We'll let it settle throughout the break, but I'm to your offensive line. Spain's defensive tackle. Nick is edge, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got him pretty
Chris
much.
is offensive line
Chris
as well.
also offensive line. We did throw a little receiver in there, but you're right. That's
Nobody's
probably
gonna
yeah.
pick that over.
Overwhelmingly right now, edge is in the league. But let's go to break. Come back.